don't know if I'm convinced to give this a try, but the Philippine tube is freaking good. Super crunchy.
Earlier during the day, we visited an extraordinary Hakka walled village, which has stood for over 3 centuries and even survived Japanese cannons during World War II. Autumn sky was clear, but weather scorching hot. We need something to cool us down. If you've watched the linked video from before, you know what's in store. That's correct, a type of dessert soup known as tong sui in Cantonese or tang sui in Mandarin. We will order some delivered to the hotel. I'll talk a little about tong sui in a few minutes. After chilling out both figuratively and literally, we've recuperated from the heat and we are ready to eat. We ventured to a seafood restaurant where we would order an ocean of dishes. It's an enjoyable though unmemorable meal, one devoured in a fleeting moment of hunger, then forgotten among a parade of others to follow. However, we won't soon forget the next meal that follows later in the evening. But before that, a little lakeside stroll.
After our seafood dinner at Mei Xiaohaixian, we're now walking along the shore of the West Lake of Huizhou, not Hangzhou.
As much as I endeavor to show you guys every corner of China, I must admit, previously I didn't know of Huizhou's West Lake. Sorry my Huizhou comrades, forgive me. That twin in Hangzhou is just way too famous. But that is not to say one is better than the other. They're both beautiful in their own ways. I think the great Su Dongpo would agree. A renowned Song Dynasty poet and statesman, Su was also a storied gastronome. Here's a gastronomic story for ya. It begins in Hangzhou, where Su Dongpo is remembered for commissioning construction of the eponymic Su Di, a causeway that spans Hangzhou's West Lake. A few years later, Su was banished to this part of China. The enchanting views of Huizhou's West Lake reminded Su of the enchanting Hangzhou West Lake. Maybe he felt like he could see but not taste Hangzhou, so he localized the eponymous Dongpo pork by adding mei cai, a famous Huizhou preserved vegetable. The result is the well-known Hakka pork dish mei cai kao rou, as shown in this old video. There's one version of the origin story of mei cai kao rou. If you enjoyed the story, hit that like. Now let us talk more pork, because that's what we're having later in the evening.
The weather's pretty comfortable. There's a light breeze, so we're gonna walk for a bit more to burn off some calories and maybe build up an appetite for a late night meal.
Oops, did I say pork? There is pork, but what I really meant to say was pork pluck, and not just a conventional pluck set. Cuts here combined into an extended cut. Lots of insights inside this store. I've come especially for this baby.
This is shengchang. For those uninitiated, that might be misinterpreted as raw intestine. But actually, shengchang means reproductive intestines, referring to the fallopian tube of nutrient cells. I know that might sound unnerving, but the spade cells, actually their oviducts and wombs will stay pretty clean due to unusage. And that's especially crucial when you consider the cooking method, which is using congee as the medium. So there are no spices to cover up any weird odors.
Pick a fresh pork pluck for a flavorful pot of porridge. I think the proper term is congee, as in rice porridge. There's a litany of details concerning the congee itself, but I'll leave those for the description section. This category of congee here is shengguanzhou, literally raw boiled congee, referring to cooking raw foods in boiling cooked congee. This brand, Qiangshu or Uncle Qiang, adopts an innovative hot pot format. You do some of the cooking yourself, so you can throw in whatever stuff at your discretion. It's interactive and gives you more autonomy. But if you're picky about your pork pluck porridge, a bowl of old school shengguanzhou is the way to go because of the different timing and heat needed to bring out the best in each ingredient. According to China-Hong Kong food writer Mark Yutong, who was born in Shunde of Guangdong province, where shengguanzhou is particularly renowned, pork meatballs need to be simmered in low heat over a long period to ensure thorough doneness without causing them to dry or harden. While pork kidney and liver should be boiled quickly in high heat because they tend to overcook easily. Others advise medium heat for pork ribs to balance between high heat needed to cook meat adjacent to the bone and low heat needed to dissolve collagen around the bone.
I don't know if I'm convinced to give this a try, but the Philippine tube is freaking good. Super crunchy, which is why the shengchang is also called cuichang, crunchy intestine.
There are also nuances about employing different marinades for different ingredients. For instance, some suggest avoiding alcohol with fish. Instead, opt for peanut oil, ginger, and scallion. Alcohol, on the other hand, is needed for pork and parts, but use rice wine in lieu of strong liquor. Here, the pork offals are sold by weight. The butcher cuts off portions as per your request. Organs are then trimmed further, briefly marinated, and dumped together in a pot of bubbling congee.
那些滚起来3分钟就可以吃了。
Without separating the foods and adjusting the heat, the outcome might be inferior to true Guangzhou, but this pot still turns out to be one of the most unforgettable meals of the trip. Mind you, congee is hot, hot pot is hot, the night is still a mite hot even with the breeze. It's illogical to try congee hot pot in such weather. But hey, good food often defies logic. This crowd speaks volumes about who's more important, logic or congee. That being said, we're still a wee bit hot inside, so off we go to cool down. But no more traditional tong shui, we're going for modern teas. A short taxi ride away is Heiti Mini, the younger and cheaper arm of Heiti, one of the top brands in the business along with fellow Shunde-based tea beverage company Nayuki. Bubble tea emerged from Taiwan province decades ago, and for years it dominated the market. This old form of bubble tea is still ubiquitous today, but mainly priced in the low end, whereas Heiti and Nayuki have done to bubbly what Starbucks did to coffee. Heiti Mini is more geared toward mid-range consumers, nonetheless products are still relatively gourmet, not to mention creative.
Heiti Mini's Autumn Special Salted Duck Egg Biscuit.
In essence, it's a seasonal drink inspired by the mooncake, featuring set biscuits to represent the pastry and yellow custard standing in for egg yolk filling. It's textured, it's thoughtful, it's decadent, it's relevant. Turning mooncake into a drink is an outrageous idea, which Heiti has realized with outstanding formulation. Both Heiti and Nayuki were founded in Guangdong. Aside from photogenic designs, quality products is still the bedrock for these billion-dollar companies. Perhaps this proficiency in concocting upscale drinks that nationwide consumers are willing to pay for is partially attributed to the tong shui culture ingrained in the DNA of the Guangdong folks. R&D done in earnest, coupled with a sweet instinct, recipe for success. Whilst chilling out at Heiti Mini, we discover another tea store a few doors down. This one a local brand that has yet to grow into a chain. The next day we would return after first visiting the West Lake to see more of its splendor. Unlike the day before when we went to the walled village, the weather cooperates and the sky stays clear. The sun though is still scorching hot, giving us all the more reasons to grab more teas, but this time at a Chinese brand with a Siamese touch.
Thai style soda柠檬茶 hand crushed lemon tea.
Did you guys hear that clamor in the background? It's the big dude crushing lime for the tea. The term 柠檬茶 translates to lemon tea, but it's really lime tea, plus pandan, lemongrass, etc. Perhaps the idea is based on the Thai lime tea cha mana. This cup here seems to be a milk tea version of the butterfly pea flower tea, or blue tea, a popular Southeast Asian tisane. Adult Thai drinkers would find these authentic, but that don't mean they aren't refreshingly fantastic. Again, maybe the tong shui intuition is at play. As I sip on my blue beverage during these last moments of our Guangdong trip, I reflect on what a run it has been this past week. From a first meal of rare Shenzhen local cuisine to the sensational life and rice noodles in Dongguan, and then the Hakka delicacies here in Huizhou, plus all the wonders in between. What a run! But also a long string of non-stop Chinese fairs. So let me take a quick breather and switch focus. Since we're ending this video with Thai drinks, I shall do my next video on Thai foods. Goodbye from Huizhou, see y'all back in Suzhou, 再见!